Emily Carter's disappearance began like any other ordinary evening in the small town of Millbrook, a place where crime was almost unheard of and neighbors trusted one another without question. On a cool autumn night, she left her family's house wearing her favorite denim jacket, carrying nothing more than her phone and a small purse. She told her parents she was going to meet a friend for coffee. It was supposed to be a short trip, but Emily never came back. By morning, her phone was unreachable, and panic set in. The police launched an immediate search, combing through every possible lead. Her car was discovered on the edge of town, parked neatly on the shoulder of an old country road. The doors were locked, the keys still inside, and her purse untouched on the passenger seat. To investigators, it looked staged, as if someone wanted to erase her trail. Search parties scoured the nearby woods, rivers, and abandoned farmhouses, but there was no trace of Emily. Rumors quickly spread through Millbrook. Some said she had run away to escape her small-town life. Others believed something darker had happened, whispering about strangers spotted in town that week. Friends insisted she had no reason to leave. She had a stable job, close ties with her family, and plans for her future. Her parents clung to hope, but as days turned into weeks, and weeks into years, the silence around Emily's disappearance grew heavier. Eventually, the case went cold. Her face remained on missing posters that faded in the sun, reminders of unanswered questions. Millbrook changed during those years, but Emily's absence lingered like a shadow. Everyone remembered the girl who left one evening and never returned, leaving behind a mystery that seemed destined to remain unsolved. 5 years later, when the people of Millbrook had almost learned to live with the unanswered questions, Emily Carter suddenly returned. It happened on a stormy night when thunder rattled the windows and rain hammered the empty streets. She appeared at the doorstep of her family home, drenched and pale, as though she had walked straight out of a nightmare. The jacket she wore was the very same one she had left in, tattered now and stained by time. Her parents, overwhelmed with shock, embraced her, but something about her presence felt unsettling. Emily was thinner, her eyes sunken, and her face carried an expression that no one could quite understand, somewhere between fear and determination. Word of her return spread quickly through town, and neighbors gathered outside to catch a glimpse of the girl who had been gone for half a decade. To everyone's confusion, Emily offered no explanation. She refused to answer questions about where she had been or why she had stayed away for so long. The only thing she said, over and over, was that she wanted to rest. When the police questioned her, Emily's responses were brief, avoiding any details. It was as though she was guarding a secret too heavy to share. At first, people were relieved, even grateful, that she was alive. But as the days passed, relief gave way to suspicion. Emily's behavior grew stranger. She wandered through town at odd hours, avoided old friends, and stared off into the distance as if listening to something only she could hear. She kept her past sealed, and the more she stayed silent, the more people whispered. Why had she come back now? Why not before? And most of all, what had truly happened to her during those missing years? Investigators wasted no time reopening Emily's case once she returned. Her sudden reappearance raised more questions than it answered, and detectives believed the only way forward was to trace her life before she vanished. That was when they uncovered a detail that had been overlooked years earlier. Emily had been secretly working for Victor Hale, a wealthy businessman with a powerful reputation. On the surface, Victor was admired for his charities and investments, but behind closed doors, he was suspected of money laundering and fraud. When police began digging into his records, they realized he too had vanished around the same time Emily disappeared. This connection changed everything. Detectives began to believe Emily hadn't been taken randomly. Instead, she may have been caught in the storm of Victor's dangerous dealings. Witnesses from the past remembered seeing her near Victor's offices late at night, delivering documents and handling private files. At the time, it seemed like harmless work, but now those same details painted a much darker picture. She had access to his financial records, his coded accounts, and even evidence that could expose him. If Victor knew she held information that could destroy him, it gave him a reason to silence her. The deeper investigators went, the more unsettling the findings became. Bank transfers revealed Emily's name tied to accounts she had no business being part of. Surveillance images surfaced showing her entering Victor's private residence days before she disappeared. Slowly, the narrative of an innocent girl vanished into thin air began to unravel. She wasn't simply a victim. She was deeply entangled in something far larger than the town of Millbrook could have ever imagined. The possibility grew stronger with each discovery. Emily's disappearance was no accident at all. When detectives followed the trail connected to Victor Hale, they were led to an abandoned farmhouse miles outside Millbrook. Hidden among overgrown fields and broken fences, the house looked like it had not been lived in for years, yet inside were clear signs of activity. Dust-covered furniture bore fresh footprints, the cellar door was reinforced with heavy locks, and scattered belongings hinted at a long-term stay. Among the items discovered were Emily's personal notebooks, clothing she was last seen wearing, and traces of her handwriting on the walls of a room that appeared to have been used as living quarters. These findings supported the theory that Emily had been held there after she vanished. But what unsettled investigators most were the ledgers and financial records tucked into drawers and boxes. Emily's handwriting appeared alongside Victor's, recording transactions and coded entries involving large sums of money. Each page linked them deeper into criminal activity. It became impossible to deny that Emily had not only been present during Victor's schemes but had actively written in his books. This raised disturbing questions. Was she being forced to assist him, or had she chosen to stay and play her part? Further evidence only deepened the mystery. Food receipts and supply logs suggested Emily was there for years, not just days or weeks. Her fingerprints were found on safes and file cabinets containing stolen documents. To some investigators, it was clear she had become more than a captive, she had been a partner. Yet the farmhouse still carried signs of struggle, scratches on doors, broken locks, and a hidden message etched faintly into a window pane, "Help me." These contradictions painted a chilling and confusing portrait of her missing years, leaving the truth buried between victimhood and complicity. Just as investigators were closing in on the truth, Emily slipped away once more. This time, she left without warning, vanishing as suddenly as she had appeared. All that remained was a single envelope found on her bed. Inside was a handwritten letter that shocked both her family and the authorities. In it, Emily confessed that she had lived with Victor Hale after her disappearance. She explained that at first, she had been his prisoner, locked away in fear and stripped of any chance to escape. But as the years passed, her role began to change. Victor trusted her with his secrets, his money, and his crimes. Gradually, she stopped resisting and started helping him. In her words, survival had turned into partnership. The most unsettling part of the letter was her admission that her return to Millbrook was never about reconciliation or closure. She had come back for one reason: to retrieve something she had hidden in her family's home before she vanished, documents worth millions, records that could expose or destroy the network Victor had built. Once she had them, she no longer needed to stay. The note ended with a chilling line: "Do not look for me. You will not find me." Her family, heartbroken, realized they may never know who Emily truly was anymore, the daughter they lost, the victim they mourned, or the criminal she had become. Authorities launched another search, but she had left no trace behind. Whispers spread that she might still be alive, moving from place to place, carrying secrets powerful enough to buy her freedom forever. Others believed Victor's enemies eventually found her. To this day, no one knows for certain. All that remains is the haunting question: did Emily come back for redemption, or for something far more dangerous?